All right. You are live. 2 seconds and rolling, and I don't see any eyeballs on us now, so we'll see how it goes. Oh, we got one person watching us.
Yeah.
Hello, there we are. Well, so this is kind of the second edition of Bushnell Live. If you've got a better name for it, Nick, we're all ears. But as you and I were talking, we started this with just kind of the focus of providing a little bit of levity. We're all going through a very awkward situation right now, and everybody's doing our best to manage it. And we thought it'd be kind of neat to check in to see how the team is handling it. And I know you're up there in Minnesota, and you're kind of doing things a little differently. You're not quarantining by yourself. You're quarantined with a whole family. What's going on up there, man?
We got the whole family going up here, buddy. Yeah, it's so my wife Mallory and we decided to condition our house, and so basically we had to move it. So we decided to move in with my mother and father-in-law, and they've got a really nice big home here. It's what do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bedrooms. Like a 6,500 square foot home. It's got a big basement, which is where I'm at right now. I got all my taxidermy down here. And the funny part was right about we're getting ready to move in with my in-laws for this few months while we're building our home. Mallory's and his wife and their little girl, they sold their house. So they bought a piece of land and they're getting ready to build. So they're here, man, we got the tribe going in this thing, man.
Oh, wow.
But
you said 10
it's been fun. We've been 10 of us total. Yeah. So, we got 40 acres here at the house. So, we can get out and move around a little bit. Unlike some people that live in neighborhoods, people that live in neighborhoods kind of got to stay inside, and it's just not quite as easy as what we got, and so we have horses and 4-wheelers and buggies to ride, and we shoot our bows, and we can shoot guns, and we got a wall tent set up in the backyard just to go hang out in. And we're making the best of it, and I love to cook, so I'm cooking 2-3 meals a day, and in a lot of cases cooking for the whole family, and we're just making the best of it. And it's not super easy because living on top of each other with an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old, and then things get a little interesting, but we're having fun, and we haven't gone to town. We haven't gone to with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 times to stop in somewhere, something from a store. We're having all of our groceries delivered. When the groceries get delivered, people put them on the front step. We've got a really strict process because I have asthma, and it's pretty much food induced. When I eat a lot of grains and stuff, it flares up on me really bad. So I don't want to get the coronavirus because it attacks the lungs. And for me, I'm one of those underlying conditions people. Luckily, we really don't know anybody that has gotten it either. So what we do is all the groceries, we bring them in the house. We set them on one countertop, the little assembly line going. My mother-in-law, she washes everything, set it down, and then we dry it, put it away. And so we're very careful. We wash our hands. Anytime we come in the home, there's a mud room. So everybody's got to come in the house. We're trying to be as sanitary and as safe as we can, because there is 10 of us here, and if somebody breaks the rules, then we could all get sick, and we're just trying to be real careful. We don't want anybody sick. So we have a system that we've been pretty careful.
Yeah. I do have to ask, how's the
it's been interesting.
How's the toilet paper situation handling with 10 people? Does everybody have a dedicated roll with their name on it? Are you rationing it out by squares? What's going on?
We're good on toilet paper. We were getting low about a week ago, and a friend of mine owns a store. So I called and had them set me a little bit back.
Who would have thought that when this thing hit, that would be the number one needed item by people? That blew my mind. I actually did. So So, hey, enough, man.
Actually, what I was drying it. We had a little clothesline set up for toilet paper.
air drying the toilet paper, are we? So, I'm glad everybody's doing well. One of the questions I had kind of prepped for you was just kind of talk to you a little bit about how you joined the Brotherhood. I mean, we listened to T-Bone last week talk a little bit about how he got on board, but I know you were guiding. I believe you were doing some outfitting, and I think that was kind of the connection. But you mind kind of enlightening us how that all kind of came to be?
Well, I got my start. I'm a barber by trade, and I was working at the barber in my hometown. A guy that lived about 30 miles away in Sundance, Wyoming, was an outfitter, and his wife actually had a little barbershop over there in Sundance. And she kind of wanting a little break, and so I went over and started working for her a little bit. And I didn't realize that her husband was an outfitter. And so when I went over there, I took some of my picks and stuff with me, and he was looking through them, and he said, "Hey, I'm an outfitter, and I could use some new guides if you would consider guiding. I could give you some work doing that." And then my neighbor here, he's an outfitter here in Wyoming, because Craig, the guy that I work for, he was in Montana, and Jeff Smith at 7J Outfitters lived next door. And he said, and he guides here in Wyoming. We kind of do some stuff together. And so he introduced me, short version, he introduced me to Jeff. Jeff and Kenny Morgan, who was the head guide at 7J, they came over to the barbershop one day when I was working, and we talked. They looked through my books, and he said, "Yeah, if you want a guide, well, we got a spot. Start working for us." It was great. So I took the Outfitters Board exam, passed it, and then went to Outfitters, and I worked there for about 15 years. And in the beginning, I was guiding in the fall. I was guiding whitetails, mule deer, antelope, and elk. And then in the spring, we got turkey hunts. And so I guided there for about 4 or 5 years. And then the guy from Realtree had heard about us, and they wanted to come hunt with us and do a TV show. Whitetail hunts had really taken off, and we were really making a good name for ourselves. And I think when I started working at 7J Outfitters, I think they had only been in business just a couple of years, because I think Kenny Morgan started the year before I got there. And I think the year before that is when Jeff actually went out on his own and started. So it was early in the evolution of 7J Outfitters. We really built a reputation. We had some phenomenal hunts, and we were killing good animals, and it was a fun place to be. And kind of all that time, it was kind of before everybody started videoing everything. About to scout, I would video the animals I was scouting, video my clients between my kids, and so I videoed all their first turkey hunts and some of their first deer hunts, and just got to be real good at running a camera. And so when the Realtree guys came to hunt with us, I was guiding David Blanton. And the first day at lunch in September, middle of the day is pretty quiet. You get up well before daylight, you go get in the stand. You're out by 9 o'clock. You get back to town, you eat a little breakfast or lunch, and then you got 5 or 6 hours just kind of chill. I asked David, I said, "Hey, would you mind taking some footage that I filmed?" And so he said, "Sure." So we sat down, and of course, the had a good time. He's a great guy. And he looked at some of my footage, and I mean, I really had some really great stuff. It was all on a high 8 digital 8 camera, which back then was kind of state of the art, consumer type camera. And he was just impressed with my video work. He said, "Man, you really got some great stuff here, and you run a great camera." And the very first day, he said, "What would be the chances of getting you to come to work for us?" And I was like, "Done deal. I'm gone." So I went to Jeff and Deb, and I said, "Hey, David looked at a bunch of my footage, and he's interested in me coming to work for Realtree." And I said, "It's something I've always dreamt of doing, and what would you think? I don't want to burn any bridges with you guys, and you guys are like family to me. I've been here a long time." And they were both like, "That's a great opportunity. We can't tell you, we tell you we don't want you to stay here with us, but you got to do what you got to do, and that's fine with us. And so, Jeff, but I just want you to work for me for one more year, because I was one of the head guides there. I ran a camp out of Newcastle, Wyoming, one of the mule deer camps, and so they wanted to find somebody to replace me and make a plan for the next year, so I didn't just take off. So I was fine. So I told David that, and he was cool with it. So then the very next spring, that was my first video gig. White Elk came. He had never killed a Merriam's turkey, so he came up and hunted with us, and I viewed his first Merriam's there at 7J, and just right off the bat, he and I, man, we just hit it off, and we laughed for 4 days and had a blast. We went over to South Dakota, shot a turkey too, and we just hit it off. And so that was kind of the beginning, So I went to work for Realtree. Basically, in the beginning, I was Bill Jordan's right-hand man. I went everywhere with him for about 5 years, and we'd jump on his airplane, fly to Montana, fly to Illinois, fly to Indiana, fly to Kansas, all over the place. And just really enjoyed video and the Monster Bucks video series, video and stuff for the Realtree Outdoors TV show, and just had a good time. It was really a lot of fun. I was single, didn't have any obligations, and so for Realtree. And after about 9 years, Michael's persona really was growing. I'd say about 6 years into the video and stuff that I was doing with the Realtree, we started Realtree Road Trips. So Michael and Steve Finch started Realtree Road Trip. That's kind of where I got an opportunity to be on camera a little bit. I got a few opportunities to hunt, but most of all, Michael pretty much took a guest on every trip. And so I kind of came along as the cameraman of the guest. And so that opportunity around camp, we kind of changed the way outdoor TV was filmed. Rather than just kind of showing the hunt and the cutaways, we kind of showed the whole experience, the traveling, all the young, whether we were playing a wiffle ball game or pulling pranks on people, just having fun, watching footage back, all that kind of stuff. It kind of changed the way outdoor TV was filmed. And that was kind of the same time as all the MTV stuff was going on. And, it was kind of a new reality type vibe. And we helped bring that to the outdoor, outdoor channel and outdoor TV. And so at that time, Michael was doing just a Realtree had him at a different appearance. They were really pushing him out into the public, and people really loved Michael because he's got a great personality. He was fun on camera. He was getting a lot of nice animals. So that gave me the opportunity to get in front of the camera. People really liked it. They embraced it. They liked the chemistry between Michael and myself. And then same with T-Bone. T-Bone got a couple of opportunities to hunt, on the show. He went on a few trips with Michael. And that just kind of really started everything. We gelled really well, and our personalities really fit together. We all were different, but at the same time, we meshed well. And so after about 9 years of working for Realtree, excuse me, Michael came to me one day and he said, "Hey, we got a window here. We got a chance to go out on our own and build our own brand and start our own TV show, and I'm going to do it." He said, "I'm making the jump, and I'd like you to come along with me and help me do this. I think we've got the personalities that it takes to build a good show that people will want to follow, and it's not going to be about killing animals. I mean, obviously that's going to be our goal, but what we're trying to do is touch people, make people what hunting camp's all about, show them the way we are, and draw as many people into hunting as we can." That's one of the things about Michael. And I did a podcast not long ago with Chad Belding, and I told him the same thing. Through all of this, through the 13 years of doing Bone Collector, one of the things that we've never lost focus of is getting people involved in hunting. I mean, that's been our goal from the very beginning. Not making excuses for who we are, being proud to wear our camouflage, and getting as many people involved in hunting as we can. And for us, it's about selling hunting licenses and keeping hunting alive. And so I think a lot of people within the industry lose sight of that's what they're here to do. We're here to promote hunting. It's not about flexing your muscle and showing how awesome you are and letting people know how great you are and stuff like that. It's about carrying on the hunting tradition and getting people involved, and whether it's, a kid that's never hunted before or a woman that's her husband's hunted for 40 years and she's finally going to get in the blood. Maybe she doesn't, but she knows hunting's a good thing, and she passes on to her friends at coffee that hey, hunters are great people, and that's what it's all about. So we've never lost sight of that, And so that's kind of how it all got started. And then very first season, it went over well, and here we are 13 years later, and it's to be here with Michael, and I can honestly say I'm happy to have ridden his coattails for the last 13 years. He's opened a lot of doors for me. He's never been like a boss. He's been more like a brother than a boss, and we get along. And so that's kind of how it all started. And there's three people that really gave me an opportunity. Well, four people actually. Jeff Smith from 7J Outfitters is the first guy that opened doors for me, and then David Blanton, of course, and Bill Jordan, and then Michael. All those four guys really made it possible for me. Of course, I worked hard, felt like I over-delivered and did everything I said I was going to do. And, but those guys really opened doors for me. Nobody else opened. And without them and without, what they've done for me, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So I'm real appreciative of those guys, and a lot of the blessings, that I'm lucky enough to have today came from them. So I'm real blessed and real thankful for those four individuals. So
very nice. So we talked
the short,
the short and the long of it. When we were talking with Travis last week, he told us a little bit about his nickname and how that came to be. And I know you have a nickname, but it's not very commonly used on the show, or at least the times that I'm tuning in and watching. But I believe your nickname was the Wheel, and I think I've got to say that with kind of an Italian
they call me the Wheel.
New York accent.
They call me Wheel.
Nicky the Wheel.
And it's funny because the guys in the South, the guy out, they have a little different accent, so it sounds like they're saying Will, like Will Primos. They're saying Will, but it's Wheel. And so where that comes from was I was guiding in Montana, and I had these two Italian guys. One of them's name was John Platty, and there was this other guy. His name was Phil. I can't remember his last name. He was a huge Italian dude, probably weighed like 350. He was about 6'5". And this other guy was John Platty, and he was this little, New York City type dude, with a really strong New York accent. So we're in Montana, and I drive at that time on a Nissan Pathfinder. And so I drive down into this big valley, and I know the road going up the other side is super steep, and we had just had a bunch of snow and it was melting off. And that road, I don't know if you've ever been to Montana or not, but the mud there they call it gumbo, and it gets really slick and snotty and slippery. And I mean, you can get stuck in a 4-wheel drive on the flat, with this much mud on the ground. I mean, it's just super snotty stuff. So I was down on this bottom, and I knew I had to get up that other side. And so I go, all right, guys, here we go. And literally it was a sheer drop off about 300 feet off the side of this road. I mean, it was spooky. So I gunned it. We're cruising up this thing. And so this John gave me the nickname, Nicky the Wheel Coyote. He gave me this name, right? So we're cruising up, and this big guy, Phil, is in the back, and he's got his, the oh crap handles on each side of the back seat. It's a two-door Pathfinder. He's stuck in the back. And so John's in the front seat, and he's holding on. And I can hear Phil in the background just yelling, "I'm going to kill you. If you crash this, I'm going to kill you," And little John's up in the front. He's just a little guy, cool as heck. He's going, "Nicky the Wheel, Nicky the Wheel." Woo! He's just screaming. I'm, mud's flying everywhere, and I'm cruising up the hill, and it was just all kinds of chaos. And through it all, John kept yelling, "Nicky the Wheel, come on, Nicky the Wheel." And so it was funny, I was always calling him Johnny, "Oh, Johnny," and he was calling me, "Hey, Nicky the Wheel." Then he started calling me Wheel, and those guys came back for several years, and so every time I saw him, he just called me Wheel. "Hey, Wheel, what's?" So then everybody at 7J started calling me Wheel, and
that's great.
Still to this day, they call me Wheel. When they see me, they don't call me Nick. They call me Wheel. So
I love it. I love it. That's awesome, man. Hey, no, that's a great story, man. It's one of those times when the guy in the back seat say, "I'm going to kill you."
Yeah.
He's also probably saying a couple prayers at the same time. Oh
man, and those guys were great. Every time they showed up, they had all this Italian meat and prosciutto and salamis, and I was always glad to have Phil because he always had a bunch of food and the good stuff too from New York City. So it was great.
So I was doing my research on you, and I knew a few things, but I figured I had to dig a little bit. But one thing people might not know, and you mentioned it earlier, so I figured I have to call it out a little bit, that you are a barber. I mean, you've been a barber for a long time, and you actually went to barber school in Fargo, North Dakota. I mean, I heard that's the hairstylist capital of the world. What? How did you end up in Fargo to do barber college at Moeller? Was that the name of it? Moeller Barber College?
Moeller Barber College, yep. Well, it's funny because growing up, I just was really into, wearing nice clothes, and I always had some kind of hairdo, and I've always been, now, I'm always kind of in a t-shirt and some kind of camo and jeans and boots and, but I really do like to dress up. I like to wear sharp clothes, and, if I'm going out, with my wife, or, we've got an event, I really like to dress up and do my hair, and I've just always been into it. I don't know. I've just always been, I've always liked fashion, and I've always wanted to have my own clothing line, and I've always, I've just loved it. And so, when I got out of high school, I worked a couple construction jobs, and pretty much knew right away I didn't want to do that because the guys that I worked for were just miserable. They were yelling and screaming at me, and I just knew, nah, I don't think I want to do that. And then I went to work on a ranch for a while with a buddy of mine. I really enjoyed that a lot, being out on the ranch, working cattle and riding and doing everything that, fencing and everything, out in the middle of nowhere. I loved it, but there was no money in it, And so I went back home after working on my buddy's ranch for a while, and I signed up to go to college at Black Hill State University, which is in Spearfish, South Dakota. That's my parents' alma mater. That's where they went to school, and my dad's a big booster. And so I thought, well, I'll just go to Black Hill State, and thought about maybe trying to play football. But then I got there and I met with an advisor, and, school just wasn't for me. I just didn't want to go to school anymore. I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I knew my physics and math capabilities are probably going to hold me back from there. So rather than fix animals, I decided I'd just shoot them.
Makes sense.
So I decided, one of my best buddies growing up, his dad was the barber in my hometown. And so, I always liked hair, and I always did, wore nice clothes. And so I went to him one day and I said, what's it like being a barber and maybe going to barber school? He said, that's great. It's, you work every day, but money's good. You get to bowl with a lot of people, and find a lot of good hunting spots, because there's a lot of ranchers that live around here. And, we get people from all over this area that live out on ranches, and we come and we cut their hair, and we get to know these people. And so, we get a lot of hunting opportunities, which is nice. And so he said, I'll tell you what, if you want to do it, go to school, and, if you need any money while you're in school, I'll send you a little bit of money to help get you by. And when you get done, come back and work for me here at the shop. You can pay off, if you owe me anything at the end, and you can work here at the barbershop with me, because I need another guy anyway, because I'm growing like crazy and I can't handle all the people. And so I said, that sounds good. So my parents actually, my parents paid for my barber school. I think it's $3,700. And I actually did have two jobs. I'd go to barber school from 8 in the morning till 5 at night. And then I had two jobs that I did. One of them, I worked at a sporting goods store. And then for a while I was cleaning with a gal that I went to school with, but that didn't last very long. So I was just kind of working at that sporting goods store, and I was setting up bows, selling guns, clothing. It was a really nice store in Fargo called The Outdoorsman, it was called. And it might still be in business, I'm not sure. But a guy named Kevin owned it. He and his wife ran it. They were really great people. And I learned a lot about kind of the hunting industry, just the equipment and stuff like that. But then, I went to barber school there, and when it was all said and done, I think I ended up owing Mark like $1,800. Once in a while you get in a pinch in school, and I'd call him and say, "Hey, send me $200." So I went to work for Mark at his barbershop, and I ended up working there for 4 or 5 years. And then I worked there, and a couple of my buddies owned a fishing boat in Alaska. And so I just went to Mark at the barbershop and said, "Hey, I got an opportunity to go to Alaska and work on the fishing boat for the summer, and I'm going to do it." And, he didn't really like that too much because we had a really busy shop. And, but I just decided if I didn't do it, I never was gonna. So I said, "Nope, I'm doing it." And, he kind of tried to talk me out of it a little bit, because we were so busy at the shop, but I just said, "Nope, it's just I got to do it. It's calling." So I went and I did that. And I actually worked on, with those guys for, 5 seasons. I went to Alaska and worked in the summertime. And then that's how I kind of met up with the people in Sundance, the gal that had the barbershop. When I came back, Mark had hired some, so I didn't have my job there anymore. So I started working for her, and then that all kind of rolled into the guiding deal. So it was meant to be,
Yeah, definitely. So I thought something that we could help out the people who are watching, because as you're on social media, you probably, seen the stories. These quarantine haircuts are kind of the big thing, right? I mean, people are improvising. They're having to do it on their own. They're going without. So I thought what we'd do is I'd show you a couple of haircuts that people have done. And then maybe you could give some people some pointers, like, this is how you could maybe fix it, or this is what we could do to not prevent that from happening again. All right. So you game? We'll call this quarantine.
And before we right. But before we start this, Matt, I wanted to just say, being a barber and looking at your hair, you have what we call in the barber business, we call it kind hair.
Kind hair. I like that. Why is it called kind hair?
Yeah. You know why? Because it's the kind that grows on a dog's ass.
Nice. I like that. That is very good. See, I'm just refusing the cut. This is all just the quarantine. Just grows that quick.
Right.
Just a couple of weeks and boom.
Okay, let's see what you got.
All right. So here's contestant number 1. All right. So this gentleman here, he appears that he went a little heavy on the razor. So what could maybe he do next time, or do to maybe even this out a little bit? Any style and tips for this gentleman?
Well, the good thing about that cut is that it can be fixed. So whoever's cutting his hair, all they got to do is just continue up. So they need to take that. They need to take that clipper and just go right straight up the sides, and don't follow the side of the head. Just go straight up like this.
Okay.
All the way around there. And so then what that's going to do is it's going to take that chunk out of the back, going to take it down short as it's got it, but take it all the way up and go straight up that side. And then they can go around and they can blend that in around the side. But he's going to have to go as short as it is around the sides to get rid of that crap.
That was a much more detailed answer than I was prepared for, Nick. I'll give it up to you. All right. That was good. All right.
That's fixable. And I'll tell you, one year, Waddell, we had a Halloween party over at Waddell's house, and him and his wife went as like Bonnie and Clyde. So he shaved his head all the way around the side, make it look like that, 30s looking deal around,
Right.
So I had to fix that, and his hair ended up being pretty short, but I got it fixed.
All right. So, all right. A lot of people have parents, they're home alone, like you, maybe they're single parents. Anyway, they're juggling a lot of things. So if you've got your kid and you're working on it, is there a remedy for this? I mean, this looks like it's gone.
Yeah. I would say for that one, literally you could just do either wherever that shortest stuff, just do the whole thing that short, just take it right off, then you don't have any maintenance. But what you could do there is where that part is, where it's comb, he's got that comb over.
Right.
Just take that little clipper where they did that real short stuff and go right down that part line. You see that right there? You can go right down that part line. The kid's head and shave everything below it, and then he'll have that nice. Well, I'm looking backwards. So shave right down that part line, shave everything down below it, and then leave that nice little comb over there so he can have that kind of new modern look, you know. And then on the same side, on the other side, go ahead and just bowl it out, and then he'll have a nice little comb over there.
All right.
I could fix that one too, man.
I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed. All right. So a common question most people are probably asking, you know, if I'm going to cut hair, is there a good thing to put on the ground? What should you drape around? I mean, this gentleman here looks like he's – at first I thought this was you when I first found this picture for a minute there. It kind of made me think it was you, but he looks like he's going with the trash bag. Do you recommend the trash bag? Do we put a tarp on the floor? What's the best way when we don't have that nice looking mock or whatever?
I like the trash bag. You know, wrap it around and secure it like he's got. That's pretty good. Inevitably, it all falls on the floor, so then you just, you know, sweep it up and go over it with the vacuum. You know, that's about it. And then take your shirt and shake it off outside.
Okay.
Make sure you get the neck. Make sure you get the neck hairs, though. Make sure you get the neck hairs.
It's so one of the things, you know, a lot of people might struggle with is that, like you were just mentioning, you're looking at yourself in reverse. So we have this gentleman here. Any tips for working in the mirror and kind of using your reflection, and when you're getting that in? I mean, I think he's gone way too high personally, but what do you do there when you're looking at yourself in the mirror? Any tips?
That is one of the toughest things to do. That's super tough, and everything's backwards. So yeah, all you can do there is just hope for the best. You know, have somebody else do it. That's what I have my wife cut mine. I've trained her to cut mine. So
okay. Another common deal is you know, kind of the bowl cut, and I was just curious if there is a recommendation on the size of the bowl you should use. I mean, this gentleman looks like he went a little large. I don't know. Are we looking at like a Miracle Whip bowl, a yogurt? What kind of what's the right dimension you should be looking at?
You know, that just kind of depends on how low you want your bowl. You know, if you want your bowl like a little bit above the ears, then you need a little bit bigger, like more of a popcorn bowl.
Okay.
If you want it to go a little bit higher, maybe like a big cereal bowl where you get that high bowl type deal. So, you know, it's just all what you want and like. You know, just get 4 or 5 bowls and try them on for size and see what you can come up with. You know, I think that's the best advice I can give.
Okay. All right, we got another gentleman. I think he needs your help here. Let's see what we got going here. So, I'm a little speechless. I don't know if this is a little Tiger King-esque he was going for or what happened, but he looks like he's again. Is this just going with too thin of a cover for the razor? We need to, you know, go up a couple numbers, or what do we? A lot of people seem to have the same issue.
Yeah, you know, I think the best thing he can do is just continue on with what he's got, but then just let the mullet grow out in the back, and then he'll be styling. You know.
Yeah, he'll be ahead of the curve.
You know. Yeah. All right. He probably should have started a little longer on the sides, but you know, it'll work. It works.
All right, I got just a couple more for you here, man. All right. What about here? What do we do here? Do we just leave it alone? It looks great.
That's a tough part. Yeah, I think that one. I think he'd look good bald. That guy. I think he'd look good bald.
And this one I thought would really kind of strike home because, again, you just trimmed yours up, but I was going to ask you personally, like, why you're not still with this look? Why didn't you? What was it? The orange, the color you were going for, or because if that's not Nick Mundt, I figure you were feeling frisky that day. You needed to go blonde. What did you do there, buddy? So you were there, and then you just shaved it off, right? Like you were here now.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly happened, but that's a good one, Matt. Good one.
And then of course you just got the, you know,
one last cousin. There you go.
Week 4, I cut it myself. So yeah, if anybody's watching and they've got a quarantine look they want to show with us, yeah, put a picture down in the comments below. We'd love to see what everybody's doing. If you're having to improvise, if maybe you had one of those ups moments, but at least it sounds like from you, Nick, there is some hope at the end of a lot of little light at the end of the tunnel, as they say.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, some people look really good with a shaved head. Some people don't. So, you know, you'll just have to figure it out, I guess.
Oh, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Well, man, I've got a few questions for you, and then I'm going to kind of turn this up to kind of a live Q&A. But I just had a couple to kind of get the ball rolling. And if people have a comment, feel free to fire them off down below. We'll get to them as many as we can. But my first comment, and I asked T-Bone this: do you have a luxury item during quarantine? Is there something that you purchased that you're just, man, I'm glad I got that, or glad I have that? Do you have something like that?
No, not really. Only, I really don't, man. I don't.
Sounds like maybe it's your house.
Once we started hearing about this, yeah, no kidding. That's the one thing I am lucky. I'm building that house so I can escape and get up there and get a little away time, So that would probably be it. But I don't have anything really that I'm glad that I got, other than I'm just glad that I'm able to get out in the woods. Next couple of days, I'm going to turkey hunt for myself and my wife, and just the luxury of being in the country is mine. That's about it, man.
All right. So what about a guilty pleasure? You have a guilty pleasure during this quarantine? Has it been? I guess you can't really, just kind of walk around the house and you're without anything on, or go to the deal with a house of 10 people. But any guilty pleasure? Is it that man cave you're sitting in, or you've been binge watching anything lately, or anything that you're about?
We had the opportunity to get caught up on a few series on Netflix. Watched the new season of Ozark, which is really good. And you being from Missouri, we're living in Missouri, you can understand that one. Have you seen it?
I have not. I have not started it. I got myself into a weird pickle. The wife watched the first season, loved it, and then I was like, "Stop! Don't watch anymore. I'll catch up." And I haven't caught up. So now it's kind of a sore subject around here. So I'm gonna have to kind of watch it in private, and then we'll get on the even track, and then I'll be all good. So I have not started that.
Yeah, it's really good. You'll enjoy it. Yeah, so we watched it. We kind of need to find something new. It seems like when I go through Netflix now, it just kind of seems like I've watched all the good stuff, So need to come up with something. My wife and I like a lot of cop show, murder mystery type. We kind of like those. Comedy too, of course. I like funny stuff, but we end up watching a lot of these thriller type deals, and I feel like I've watched almost everything. But I can tell you, my diet has been off a little bit. I've got this. Basically, I have like it's not an allergy because I'm not allergic, but I have almost like an allergy to grain, and so when I eat a lot of grain, I get really my lungs get clogged up. I cough a lot, can't breathe, my sinuses get full, and so I haven't been able to get the vegetables and stuff that I normally eat. So I have been cheating a little bit, and so I'm, my asthma's kind of flared up. So something's kind of been bad on me. I've been cheating because it's easier to cheat when you don't get all the food that you want.
There you go.
Mr.
Benjamin's got a question for you. He wants to know what the story behind your lanyard on your rangefinder is. Is there you know what he's referring to there?
Well, yeah, for sure. So my best friend growing up is Lakota Sioux from South Dakota, and his dad just did all kinds of beadwork. I mean, he does, built moccasins and cradle boards and strips for jackets, and probably the best beadwork that I've ever seen done, freehand beadwork, no looming. So I've always just been really into Native American beadwork and more of the Sioux style of beadwork. And so he made me a few items over the years. I never did get a lanyard from him, but I was actually on a hunt in Utah, and I found that lanyard, and I just thought, oh, this is just the coolest lanyard ever. It's perfect. So I bought it, and it lets my ranger hang just in the perfect spot. And I've used that lanyard for so many years now that I don't even have to look to find my rangefinder. I can just grab my rangefinder, range it, drop it, draw and shoot, And so it's just been a just a part of my tools that I take to the field. You know, no matter what I'm hunting, I always have my rangefinder on, and really maybe about the only time that I don't have it on is if I'm on a rifle hunt where I know, you know, everything's within, you know, all I got to do is put my crosshairs on them and got them, you know.
Yeah.
But I almost always have it on me, and just about any animal that I've killed over the last 13 years on the television show, I've had that lanyard on, and it just means a lot to me. And my friend's dad passed away, going on 2 years now, and he was just a phenomenal guy, and so he introduced basically to beadwork, and so I just have a soft spot for beadwork. I love it. And he actually made me, before he passed, made me a medallion that's about this big, that's got the Bone Collector logo on it. He made it all freehand, and when you look at his work from the back, you never see a stitch because he stitched everything halfway. So he'd make the stitch, go halfway through the leather, and then back out the other side. And so when you turn his pieces over, you will never see a stitch on the back side.
Wow.
He's just
That's awesome.
his name was Frank Standinghide. He's a phenomenal artist, amazing beater. So that's where, you know, my love for beadwork comes from.
Very good. Well, we must have a kind of a silent partying group because I don't see anybody firing off any questions in the comments. I might have missed a couple, but if you got a question, we've got Nick Mundt from the Brotherhood. He's with us here on Bushnell Live, taking a few questions. We've covered a lot of topics. We gave some barber tips out a little bit ago. We found out about Nikki the Wheel, which is probably what I'm gonna have to start calling you every time I see you now. That's just too good of a story on that one. So if nobody else has any questions to fire away, I have some prepared, of course. So we'll see if anybody else contributes along the way. But I definitely have a couple of questions for you, my man. So
Okay.
So what we're gonna do here is just gonna kind of a lightning round per se. I don't want you to stop and think about it very much. Just kind of fire them off when you got an answer. But Daryl's got a question, and I was kind of wondering the same thing. He says, "How many mounts do you have now, Nick? I don't think you've got a spare spot on that wall behind you. That's a pretty full man cave, buddy."
Well, right here in my mother-in-law's basement, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. That one's not mine. 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. I have 40 right here in my mother-in-law's house. And then out above the garage is a big bonus room. And I've got, I think, another 28 out there. And then right now, I think I have about close to a dozen at the taxidermy shop. So,
wow, your mother-in-law,
60s, you know,
your mother-in-law must really like you, or you must be one heck of a cook, my man. To take 40.
Yeah, keep saying, when are you moving into your new house again?
All right. Let's see here. Okay, so all right, we're gonna fire off with these questions.
Good to hear from you, Daryl.
Don't try to think about them too much. Just fire off, okay? All right. So as a hunter, you know, we've all been out in the woods. We've all had this situation where there's not toilet paper easily handleable, easily findable or usable. What is the best natural solution that you've encountered for no toilet paper?
Shirt sleeve. Just grab it, rip it. You can strip it if you want to, or you just wrap it around and just do a pull through, you know. I've used that a few times over the years, the shirt sleeve.
That has to be something that's a part of the initiation thing to the Brotherhood, because that's exactly what Travis said. So we'll leave it at.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's exactly what he said, to the T almost.
Yeah, and usually I like to wear a short sleeve shirt under everything, and so that's just perfect. You know, you can just rip a sleeve off of it, and away you go.
All right, so I'm going to give you 5 minutes to go into any store by yourself, get whatever you need, where you going, and what you getting.
Oh my gosh, that's a really tough one, man. You know, I'd have to say, you know, probably some kind of sporting goods store, and Man, that's a tough one for me. Probably some kind of sporting goods store, and I'd probably go right to the knife section because I love knives. For some reason, I love knives, and
Okay.
I've got a whole bunch of them, and that's probably what I'd do.
Okay. All right.
That's a tough one, though, man. That's really tough.
So you just got your own private stash, like you were telling us earlier. Everybody in the house has their own dedicated roll of toilet paper, and you're going to go put it on the roll. Which way is that toilet paper facing? Is it over or under?
Yeah, over. Yeah, I'm over. I like it over.
What do you put on your hot dog? Yep. Mustard or ketchup?
Ketchup and mayonnaise.
Oh, you guys are killing me with
a strip of mustard too. I like all three.
That's got to be another brotherhood thing. If Michael comes on and says the exact same thing about what he likes on his hot dog and how he finds a natural solution for toilet paper, I know it's true. All right.
Is that what T-Bone said too?
Yeah, all three of them, man. But he had a speculation on the it couldn't be, it had to be mayonnaise. He didn't want the Miracle Whip, so it had to be genuine. So he was a little astute there. All right.
I love them both.
Here's a burning question everybody wants to know. Did Carol Baskins kill her husband?
Oh. Yeah, otherwise he just got sick and tired of her and just bolted and made it look like she killed him.
All right, so I'm going to let you invite anybody into your house.
All I can say is she's got an outlet for his bones. Tigers just eat every bone they can get, so
There you go. So you can invite anybody into your house. Of course, they're COVID clear, living, dead, fictional. Who are you inviting in to hang out with you guys for a little while, if there's room? That is, they might be on that wall tent outside, but who are you inviting in?
I just love Merle Haggard, man. I love his music. I love, the way he wrote his songs. I'm just a nut for Merle, and I love, the country sound. He's probably somebody that I would just love to have come over and just sit down. And I know 80% of his songs by heart, and I just love to sit down and pick and play and sing with Merle Haggard, man. That would just be
that. That's good. That'd be a good one. Peanut butter, crunchy or smooth?
Smooth.
Okay. Pee in the shower, yes or no?
Yes. Not always, but I have.
Well, yeah. Is it acceptable to pee in the shower, yes or no? Because apparently some people don't think it is. All right.
I think so. It all goes down the drain, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that one, man. All right. So you'll never find – it's a fill in the blank for you. You'll never find me in the hunting stand without blank to eat. What's your go-to snack in the stand, buddy?
To be honest, I don't ever take snack. I really don't.
Not gum, not jerky, not anything, nothing. Okay, all right. I believe you.
I just don't. Bottle of water.
That works.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you bite or lick your ice cream?
I take about a spoonful at a time and just put it in and chew it up and swallow it down. I love ice cream, man. I love ice cream.
All right, here's another fill in the blank for you. The best thing about being a redneck is blank.
A freezer full of meat.
There you go. That's another straight from the heart of T-Bone answer. I like that one. I think I agree with that one as well. Let's see. I think I've just got a couple of more. And you might have just kind of already answered this one, but if you were going to invite anybody into your living room to give you a live performance during quarantine, who are you inviting in? It's probably the gentleman you just said, but
I'd probably say Merle. I'd say Merle.
What song are you going to have him sing? What's the first song you're going to request?
Oh man, there's just so many good ones. I mean, I don't know if you've listened to Merle Haggard much, but every one of them is. There's not a single song on any one of his albums that I fast forward through. There really isn't.
Okay. That's usually the answer somebody says when they
Yeah.
can't name one of the songs. Actually, they just say, "I like them all."
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, man. Good stuff. Let's see. I think that might have been it, man. I think you knocked him out. That was pretty good. All right, one other question for you, and I know I think I asked you this at NRA last year, where I guess we all should be coming back from NRA if everything would have played out the way it was. But if you could only hunt one species for the rest of your life, what are you going to hunt?
Well, I really love to hunt everything that we do hunt. I mean, I get asked all the time, what is my favorite species to hunt? But the whitetail just lives in so many different habitats in so many areas. It's so diverse. You can hunt them early season, you can hunt them mid season, you can hunt them late season, you can hunt them during the rut. It would probably just be whitetails, just because they're so spread out and they're so diverse. Hunting whitetails in Pennsylvania is different than hunting them in South Carolina, is different than hunting them in Texas, is different than hunting them in South Dakota, is different than hunting them in Iowa, all the way out to Western Wyoming and Montana. Everything's so different. The habitat's so diverse, and each one of those areas, the whitetail looks different. I mean, they're all considered the same species, but the whitetails in South Dakota are completely different than the whitetails in Texas. And the whitetails in Texas are completely different than the whitetails in Georgia. And those are completely different than the ones in South Carolina. And those are different than the ones in Pennsylvania. So it's like 10 species in one, really.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's probably what it would be.
Good point.
But I love elk hunting. If elk hunting took place, as long of a season as whitetails did, and in as many locations, it would probably be elk. But really, you only find elk in a certain area and at a certain time of year. So.
All right, just a couple more for you. I know you're a musical guy. I think you like to kind of play a little bit. In fact, Travis says you still owe him some guitar strings from his personal. I don't know what that's about. You guys can settle that offline. Yeah. But you apparently owe him some money, or you owe him a fixed guitar.
Yeah, well, I think I did break one of his guitar strings one time. Those strings were put on that guitar like in '67, so they were a little brittle. But yeah, when you owe T-Bone something, trust me, you're going to have to pay him back, because he's never going to forget.
All right, so I'm going to show you a couple pictures again. These are all of the Brotherhood. I'm going to give you that right now. And I just got 3 of them, but I want you to give me what the band name would be called if these 3 people were in a band together. Okay? Make sense? All right, okay. So this is the Brotherhood. You guys are going to rename it. What is the band name for these 3 gentlemen here?
That one would be that would be let's see. Hamburger Helper Gangsters.
Hamburger Helper Gangster. I like it. All right, this one.
T-Bone's got the Hamburger Helper glove on.
It should be an easy one for you. What's the band name for 3 guys right here?
Oh, Destiny's Wild. Destiny's Wild.
Were you guys going for the Milli Vanilli here? Or what was this? What was this for, man? What's the backstory on this thing, real quick?
This was funny. So we went. So for 3 years we did a bus tour, and we would do 2 stores a day, and we did 2 6-day tours for 3 years in a row. So we do a store in the morning. We'd travel about 4 hours, do a store in the evening, travel about 4 hours, stay overnight, do a store in the morning, travel. So we did that for 6 days. 2 stores for 6 days, 2 different weeks in a year. So we did 2, 4, 6, 8 basically weeks of touring on a nice big bus, and we went to retail stores. And so that particular one, we're at a really great store that's up in Michigan. It's an outlet store. They have a bunch of closeout items and all kinds of fish and tackle and hunting stuff and food and they had all those shirts and those hats and wigs, and so we just went through that whole store and just had a blast. And we each, got an outfit on, but we were like a reggae. We had a name for ourselves too. We were a reggae band. I can't remember what we were calling ourselves for that one, but it probably wasn't something we could say on the air.
Okay. All right, this one's just a one-man band. This is just you, buddy. This is just you. What's this guy's band name?
Oh yeah, that one's called Supermodel. That's
Supermodel.
Band.
Supermodel. Yeah, no, that's good. I had to throw that one up there. I was trying to find a high school picture of you because there's that popular kind of meme going around. Right. Everybody's missing their senior year, but I couldn't find one. So my wife's probably going to wonder about my browser history when all these search engines for Nick Mundt are searching for you from high school. But I did stumble across this picture that you had posted, and obviously this isn't high school. But in the manner of kind of looking back, if you were going to go back and talk to this gentleman and give him a piece of advice, what would you tell him, man? What would you got? Any words for young Nick here?
Oh man, I would say. To be honest with you, I don't have many regrets about my life. Really, I've enjoyed it, and I guess I would go back and tell him just follow your heart. That's a tough one.
That'll work. Well, buddy, we're coming up here on the hour. We've appreciate everybody joining in and watching us. If you guys are interested, please come back next week. We're gonna have Michael on. Apparently, he might ghost me, but he said he's gonna come on the show. So
He'll do it.
We'll see what Waddy has to say this time around. But Nick, I appreciate it, man. All the best to everybody there. I do have to show one good picture because this is a good one. I know you guys are all hanging in there, but my best and everybody from Bushnell to the family. Hope you guys continue to weather through this, and great to check in with you. And if you're a first responder or one of those essential workers that are watching us, throw a comment below. We love to give you a shout out. Thank you for everybody that's out there on the front lines doing what you're doing to keeping this nation going. We can't thank you enough. So hopefully everybody enjoyed it, had a couple of laughs. But Nick, we certainly appreciate you coming on, man. It was great to catch up with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me so much. And I'm like you, want to just throw a shout out to the people that are, work in the hospitals and people that are trying to keep everybody safe. They're putting themselves in harm's way to make people well. And, they're on our minds. And so, you guys just keep up the good work. I know it's not easy. I know when you went into the job as a nurse or a doctor, you didn't count on something like this happening, but we appreciate you guys, and we're thinking about you. And thanks for all you've done for everybody. And just keep your chin up. It's gonna go away hopefully soon. So we'll see what happens.
Well, Nick, I appreciate it, man. Once again, great. Like I said, great to check in on you. Hope that house gets built sooner rather than later, and get out of your mother-in-law's basement. But in the meantime, enjoy, man. Good to hear from you, buddy.
Well, thank you, man. Yeah, we're just hanging with all my friends down here in the basement. So
next time we have you on, if you're going, Mom, meatloaf, but I'll know things have taken a slide for the worst.
That's right. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And hey, I've been with Bushnell for 13 years with Bone Collector, and before that, with road trips. And so I know a lot of people out there looking for good optics, and the great thing about Bushnell to me is we've got quality stuff. I have drug my scopes and binoculars and rangefinders literally all over this planet with never a problem. Most of the scopes that I'm using still today are scopes that I put on my gun and I sighted them in for the very first time, and I have never, ever had to resight them in. I've never had a gun that didn't make the shot because my scope was off, and I've been using Bushnells. You can look everything behind me. This ram right here, I shot him at 340 yards with a Bushnell scope. Had the DOA reticle in it. He was 340 yards straight downhill from me, and I put that 300-yard dot on him and laid him out. So I really, honestly, truly believe in the product. I've used it for years and years. I'm going to continue to use it. And I just want to thank you guys for making a great product that the good old American working man can afford. And literally, whether you're buying, we've got good, better, and best, right, at Bushnell. And if you're the guy that can only afford the good, you're going to get a good quality product with a heck of a guarantee, and you're going to be able to make the shots that you need to make because they are great quality optics. There's no doubt about it. And I appreciate you guys, Matt, what you guys have done at Bushnell and the quality products that you've afforded us and a lot of the people that follow the Bone Collector Show and our brand. We live by the products. When it comes to rangefinders, I never go into the woods without my rangefinder. I'd almost rather leave my bow at home than the rangefinder. So if you're somebody that bow hunts and you don't have a rangefinder, we've got a lot of different price points on our rangefinders. They all work great. They all have different features, but from the bottom to the top, phenomenal working products. And I'm not just saying that because I'm endorsed by Bushnell. Like you say, you can look behind me. The proof is right here on the wall. So I love Bushnell. Thank you, guys.
Right on, Nick. We appreciate that, buddy. All right, man. Well, you guys stay safe. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll be sure to check in with you down the road. But give my best to the family, and thanks again for coming on. And everybody's watching, be sure to join us next week, Thursday, 4 p.m. Waddy will be on, so we'll see what Waddy has to say and see if he speaks as highly as these two guys of Travis and as Nick they have of him. I'm betting that's maybe not the story. So we'll catch everybody next time. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.